Hey, folks, Dr. Joe here. Sorry about the delay. We got a few minutes delay there. We had a little trouble with the computer, but glad you're here. I am Dr. Joe Esposito. First time joining us, welcome. The way we do this is we do two 24-minute segments. I talk for 24 minutes. You, whatever platform you're on, will type in any questions you might have on health and wellness. Any question whatsoever. Today we're talking about bloating and gas. I know, a fun topic. Any questions you have, type it in. Joe, my producer behind the camera there, will ask me the questions at the break. I will answer your questions, and if you have a good question, you might get to be one of our memes this week. We won't use your voice or anything. We'll just use your question and me answering it. So you may become one of our memes or our audiographs, Joe calls it, I think. So come up with some good questions for us. Then we do another 24-minute segment, and we do the same thing over again. I answer questions again. So hopefully everybody's happy and excited. Whenever you're ready to go, Joe, I'm ready to go. Ready? Hey, folks, Dr. Joe Esposito here. I am very happy you're here, as always. Today we're going to talk about a topic that nobody wants to talk about. Everybody's got it. Nobody talks about it. And that's bloating. And I hear this all day, every day. I've been in practice 38 years. Dr. Joe, I feel fat. I feel bloated. I don't know what it is. I'm eating right or I'm not eating right. And I have this bloating going on. I don't know what it is. Well, we're going to talk about what that is and why it's a warning sign. It's telling you that there's something wrong. And if you ignore it, it can become a bigger problem. And most people think of it as annoying. Some people think of it as funny. Some people think of it as embarrassing. It's a warning sign. It's telling you that we got to get in there and we got to fix something. So that too full feeling you get, your belly starts to stick out, maybe after you ate too much, or maybe it's from the food you ate. Maybe you ate too much salt, too much fat, too much sugar, too much beans. The gas, the weight gain, the constipation, water retention. A lot of people say that too. I just retain water. I'm just bloated. Well, again, these are all signs that something's not right. It could be a medical condition. Could be celiac disease. Could be Crohn's. Could be irritable bowel syndrome, ulcerative colitis. So it can be a very serious issue, and you don't want to just ignore that because these serious issues can spiral out of control and become ultimately even deadly. I mean, it's rare, but that actually could happen too. So some of the reasons why you get that bloating, full, fat feeling, one, of course, is gassy foods. I mean, if you're eating things like beans, they're a great source of nutrients. Beans are awesome. But they have a sugar in it called raffinose. And when raffinose gets into the colon, bacteria break down the raffinose. Anything, by the way, that ends in OSE, raffinose, sucrose, fructose, glucose, maltose, anything with OSE at the end of it means it's a type of sugar. So raffinose, when it gets into your bacteria, the bacteria break it down, and that can produce a lot of that gas and bloating. It's not bad for you. The gas varies from person to person. Type of beans also can cause problems. Broccoli, cabbage, Brussels sprouts also contain raffinose. So what do we do about it? I want you to eat these good, healthy foods, but you don't want to eat them because of the adverse effects. A couple of simple things we can do. Number one, you want to soak the beans overnight. Use dried beans, soak them overnight, throw the water away, and then cook the beans. That's going to remove some of the raffinose. Number two, and the easiest thing to do, is take Dr. Joe's digestive enzymes. Now, whenever I eat a cooked meal, I take Dr. Joe's digestive enzymes. If I'm eating a meal that has a lot of raffinose in it, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, beans, I will also make sure I take digestive enzymes, and sometimes I may even take two. Like if I love split pea soup in the winter. I love lentil soups. Indian food many times has split peas and lentils in it. I'll just take two digestive enzymes with it. Most cases, the problem's solved. So what's going to happen? As you start to change your diet, as you start to eat better, your body's going to develop new bacteria. And these new bacteria are going to help you digest your new food better. Because people say to me sometimes, well, Dr. Joe, I started taking eating a plant-based diet or eating more fruits and vegetables, and I got a lot of bloating. That's okay. The body is transitioning from bacteria to digest bad foods like meats and dairy products into digesting good food. So you have to build up that bacteria, and digestive enzymes help break down the food so that the bacteria can do well. Also, when you're eating a plant-based diet, you're eating something called prebiotics. Probiotics are good bacteria, and you can take Dr. Joe's probiotics as well if you have a real serious issue, digestive enzymes and probiotics. I would take the probiotics first, wait maybe 20 minutes or a half hour on an empty stomach, and then take the food with the digestive enzymes, because digestive enzymes can digest the probiotics. But when you're eating a lot of fruits and vegetables, you're also eating prebiotics. And prebiotics feed the good bacteria in your colon. It's not food for you, it's food for the bacteria. So you will also then feed them and help them grow and make new bacteria babies and help colonate your colon with good bacteria. So there's a transition period when you go from the standard American diet. What are the letters of that? SAD, right? The SAD diet, the standard American diet. When you go from the SAD diet into a healthy diet, there may be a transition period. Digestive enzymes and probiotics can solve that problem in most cases. So it's pretty simple. And once that bloating goes away, you're more inclined to eat more of those good foods. Now, there's something called a FODMAP. I don't know if you ever heard that, FODMAP. These are foods that are hard to digest, and they can cause gas and bloating. So FODMAP foods includes dairy, fructose. Keep notes on what you eat. And if you're eating some of these foods, and just look up FODMAP. I don't want to give you a whole lecture on that. FODMAP. And these are just certain foods. A real simple thing to do is just write down how you feel after eating. Now, if you go to our website, drjoe.com, under patient forms, I think it's under clinics and then patient forms, you'll see something called a diet diary. This is a real cool tool that you can use. It's absolutely free. All you have to do is print it up and just write down what you're eating and then write down how you're feeling. And I use this for my patients with digestive problems, headaches, pain flare-ups that you can't seem to find a problem for it, sleep disorder, sexual dysfunction. I ate this. This is how I felt. I ate this. This is how I felt. In many cases, you're able to diagnose yourself. So good example is artificial sweetener. So many people eat artificial sweetener every day and don't think about it. It's in about 6,000 products, especially most gum has artificial sweetener in it. So you're going to eat some artificial sweetener and you're going to get a headache because number one side effect of aspartame, for example, is headaches. And you can't figure out what headaches are coming from. They just pop up here and there. Then you start charting your food and you say, oh, there it is. I had a diet soda, I got a headache. I had some yogurt with artificial sweetener in it, I got a headache. Nobody should eat artificial sweetener anyway, but sometimes it takes a little bit of work. But FODMAP, a FODMAP, it stands for different types of foods, and it may be helpful to you. Another thing that can cause bloating, and I'm guilty of this too, is eating too fast. Your stomach can swell up, and it starts to trap air, and sometimes that air has to come out. It's got to go up or it's got to go down. And if it goes down, it can cause that bloating. So the more food you put in, the faster you eat, the harder it is for your body to break it down. Now, it can take as much as 30 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes for your stomach to tell your brain that you're full. Now, this is a topic that I do when I do my weight loss workshops. And it's really the secret to weight loss is it takes 20 minutes to get the message from your stomach to your brain. Sometimes 30 minutes, but usually 20. And so your stomach releases a hormone called leptin. Now, leptin is released. It goes into the blood system, goes up into the hypothalamus, which is part of your brain. And the hypothalamus says, okay, leptin's telling me that I'm full. I can stop eating. When I know I have a stomach issue is when I ate so much food that my stomach hurts, but I want to keep eating. Anybody do that aside from me? I bet you do. Now, you know how much. Your stomach is only the size of your fist. So you look at a plate of food and the stomach is the size of your fist and you're eating 4 times that, the stomach's going to blow up. Okay? The stomach is trying to produce this leptin, get it up to the brain. The brain says, okay, I'm full, but you ate that much food in 20 minutes. And so you didn't have a chance to get that message. And so now you feel bloated. And the food that's in your stomach isn't able to be broken down and digested properly. So carbohydrates, for example, break down pretty quickly. If you eat a piece of melon, if you ate a melon on an empty stomach, in about 20 minutes, it's going to go from your stomach into your small intestine. It's out of your stomach. If you ate a steak, it can take up to 6 hours for that to break down because it's so hard to break down animal proteins to pass into your small intestine. And so let's assume I'm eating steak, potato, cantaloupe for dessert, maybe some ice cream. So we got simple carbohydrates, complex carbohydrates, heavy proteins, fats. So the cantaloupe wants to get out in about 20 minutes. The steak is going to sit there for 6 hours. Cantaloupe can't pass until the steak's ready. And so the carbohydrates, the sugar in the cantaloupe starts to ferment. You create a little still in your stomach. You create a booze manufacturer. And so it ferments, and it gives off a lot of gases. That's why if you ferment something, it starts to bubble up and create gases. So that could be a problem, too, as you're mixing your foods. So if you're going to eat steak, which you shouldn't, by the way, of course, but if you're going to eat steak, I wouldn't recommend eating it with a baked potato or dessert because the sugars are going to digest faster than the proteins. So my rule on melons is eat it alone or leave it alone. But if you're eating a plant-based diet and you're eating some melon, let's say, I don't know, with some, rice or something like that, it's probably not the end of the world because that's easier to break down than it is to take steak and break it down, or animal proteins. So eat it alone or leave it alone with melons, but I think we should have the same rule for steak. So if you have a hot dog on a bun, not a good combination. The body, it can't digest carbohydrates and proteins at the same speed. Plant-based proteins are a lot easier to break down than animal-based proteins. So that could be a reason why you're getting a lot of bloating. If you drink a lot of soda, if you drink beer, if you drink anything with bubbles in it, fizzy drinks, that can cause you to swell up and start to burp. Once again, if you have a lot of air in your stomach because you ate too fast, you swallowed air, you have bubbles, it's got to come up or down. And if it goes down into the small intestine, it causes a lot of that bloating. If you burp, comes out your mouth, not that big a deal. So you got to start thinking about this. And food combining becomes a big issue. Years ago, I remember food combining was a hot topic. It's not so much anymore, but you just have to think about how hard it is to digest food. I mean, think for a second. You can take a little square hamburger on a white bun that might have some meat in it, might have soy in it, we don't really know, and you eat that. And somehow, through this miracle, your body breaks that down, breaks the proteins into amino acids. The amino acids are reassembled in the liver and then sent out to the body and creates eye tissue or hair or earwax or liver or spleen or gallbladder or blood. So your body is an amazing machine that it can take in so many toxic foods and still have you survive. Not thrive, but survive. And that's the difference. Thriving and surviving are two different things. I don't want to survive. I want to thrive. You've seen people 40, 50, 60 years old look terrible, sickly, and you've seen 80, 90-year-olds look great. The reason is they're doing the right things. Well, my grandmother smoked till the day she died. Yeah, but your grandmother also worked 9, 10 hours a day in the field. Your grandmother also ate organically grown raw fruits and vegetables. She didn't eat a lot of meat. Maybe she drank a little alcohol here and there. But her lifestyle was totally different when she was younger. She didn't have the internet. She didn't sit in at night and watch TV. So the lifestyle is a very different thing. Even a tobacco years ago was different than it is today. Do you know sometimes they irradiate tobacco to make it grow bigger? There's radiation in cigarettes. Isn't that crazy? And so it's a different world. Don't base yourself on grandma. Now, if grandma lived a long life, you have good genetics. Good for you. Don't blow it. You won the genetic lottery. Don't blow it. Take care of all that gift you got, and you'll be amazed how much better you do. So cutting out the bubbly drinks, of course, is going to be a good idea because that's just putting air in your stomach, and that's going to cause it to blow up. The biggest reason I find people have bloating is they're not digesting their food properly. And the food can sit in their stomach too long, and again, it rots or ferments and gives off the gases. The easiest fix for this, and this is such an easy fix, folks, and I wish the whole world would, I wish I can get on national television all around the world and teach this one thing. Your stomach is supposed to sit below your diaphragm. Now, your diaphragm is a sheet of muscle that divides your body in half. And there's only two holes in the diaphragm that connect the upper part of the body and the lower part. One is called the lower esophageal sphincter. And that hole is where food passes from the stomach, from the esophagus into the stomach. And it opens when food gets down there. It closes normally when the food is in the stomach. It digests food, and you pass it on. What's happening, the other hole, by the way, is for your blood vessels. The stomach can push up against the diaphragm. If the stomach is up against the diaphragm, the food isn't being digested properly, so the food sits in the stomach too long and it rots, and that causes a lot of bloating. This is by far the number one reason people have bloating. And the simple fix, and this is the simplest fix in the world, folks, in most cases, my doctors and I can actually take your stomach and massage it or pull it down away from the diaphragm. And when we do that, now you start digesting your food better. So the burping, the gas, the bloating, the diarrhea, the constipation, the cramping, a lot of that goes away because the problem is physical, and you try to treat it chemically. What do I mean by that? You might take antacids. You might take acid reflux medications. The problem isn't you need more drugs or chemicals. The problem is your stomach is physically in the wrong place. And that's why the drugs don't work. I'm not against drugs. If they work, they're great. If they don't work, we got to figure out what else we can do. So if you have these digestive problems, you might want to come see us. In the Atlanta area, we have offices in Marietta, Duluth, Stockbridge, and West Cobb. We would love to be your doctors. We would love the opportunity to work with you. Now, we're not just going to check your stomach. We're going to check the nerve supply as well. The brain sends messages down your spine, out your nerves, to every cell in the body. So right now, the brain is sending a message to your stomach, to your heart, your lungs, your liver, your spleen, your thyroid, your prostate, your kidneys, your toenails. Everything has to be connected to the brain by way of a nerve. And we can interrupt those messages from working chemically or physically. Now, physically, the bones of the spine can move out of place. And if the bones move out of place, they can pinch nerves. And when you pinch a nerve, it hurts. So most people go to their chiropractor because their back hurts. However, 90% of your nerves don't feel pain. So you can have a pinched nerve and not know it. So, for example, you don't feel your kidneys, your spleen, your blood pressure, your thyroid, your liver. So my team of doctors are trained not only to test the nerves that feel pain, but we also check the nerves that don't feel pain. And the reason is, if we take you on as a patient, I don't want to get you out of pain. I want to get you well. And so we got to check those nerves as well. So many times with digestive issues, there's also pinched nerves involved. So we'll check that too. So how do you know you're a candidate for our treatment? If you have neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, headaches, numbness, tingling, muscle weakness, sciatica, cold hands, cold feet, headaches, digestive issues, really anything, because everything's controlled by nerves, come see us and let's do an evaluation. If you have a condition that we think we can help, we'll tell you. If we don't think we can help you, we'll tell you that too. So there's no reason not to get it checked. So if you want to make an appointment, you can go to our website right now, drjoe.com, drjoe.com, and you can book it right online. You can call us. The number's on the website, and we'll get you set up usually within 24 hours if we need to, or whatever works best for you. Now, people ask me all the time, do you accept insurance? The answer is we accept all patients, with or without insurance. We need to check your insurance policy to see what kind of coverage you have. So if you don't have good coverage, that's not our fault, okay? Go get a different insurance company. But here's the thing. The treatment in our office, chiropractic care, most effective, least expensive treatment for back pain. So even if you have insurance, many times you have a $6,000 deductible and $100 copays or $50 copays. It's so inexpensive to be a patient with us that some people even say, you know what, why even bother using my insurance? It's going to cost me more money if I use my insurance than if I just pay out of pocket. So don't worry about the finances yet. Come see us and we'll work all that through. So drjoe.com, we'd love to have the opportunity to be your patients. To be your doctors, you need to be our patients. I talked earlier about digestive enzymes and probiotics. Those are on our website, drjoe.com. You can order them or pick them up in our offices. We'd be happy to save you some shipping costs. Other things that can cause us to be bloated. You got to be careful about the type of carbohydrates you eat. We talked about raffinose, which is a sugar that's found in beans and in certain vegetables like broccoli and Brussels sprouts. And the raffinose, when it's broken down in your colon with bacteria, causes gas to be released. So your body taps into fuel more quickly than protein or fat. It uses carbohydrates as its fuel. Those take longer to digest, fats and proteins. After your body uses the carbs for energy, it stores the rest. We talked about this many times. You eat sugar, your body utilizes it as fuel. If it can't utilize it, it takes it and stores it as something called glycogen. And then after glycogen, all the stores that we store glycogen are filled up. Then we convert it into triglycerides, which can then be stored as fat. But if you're storing glycogen, you're also retaining water. And then, of course, in the fat cells, it gets stored as fat. Both of those things, the fats and the storage, can make you feel bloated. it can help to avoid these simple carbohydrates. Simple carbohydrates are things like breads, cookies, cakes, donuts, pasta, sugar. The complex carbohydrates, like fruits and vegetables, nuts and seeds, whole grains, they take a little longer to digest and they don't cause as much bloating. So you might be eating something like bread every day and just feeling fat. Well, the simple carbohydrates could cause the gas to be produced. But wheat is the number 2 food allergen. Dairy is the number 1 food allergen. Wheat's the number 2 food allergen. So if you're eating, let's say, a cheese sandwich or a piece of pizza, you got the number 1 and the number 2 food allergens going into your body. They can cause an allergic reaction, but the simple carbohydrates can cause the body to blow up with gas and cause a lot of bloating. So everyone should be avoiding wheat and dairy products. Be careful if you eat it because it can cause problems. And you'll notice it. Notice how you feel. All right, I just ate pizza, man. I feel tired. I feel fat. I feel bloated. Probably not the best food for you. Pizza also has cheese on it, and cheese is loaded with saturated fats. Saturated fats cause your red blood cells to clump together. And red blood cells clump together, they can't carry oxygen. If they can't carry oxygen, you get tired. And so a very simple experiment to do is one day for lunch, have a couple of slices of pizza, see how you feel a couple of hours later. Next day, have yourself a big salad, see how you feel. It's really a simple process, folks. This is not hard to figure out. Notice how you feel after you eat certain foods. And then if you don't feel good, don't eat those foods. It really becomes that easy. And all the technology I give you and all the breakdowns and the raffinose and the carbohydrates and the leptin and the ghrelin and goes into the hypothalamus, all that's a lot of psychobabble. All you have to do is say, if I eat this, I feel better. If I eat this, I feel worse. I promise you, if you avoid the 7 deadly sins, alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, artificial sweetener, and under that we put breads, cookies, cakes, donuts, and pastas, avoid them, and you'll feel better. No one in my 40 years since I've been working with patients has ever done that and regretted doing it. Imagine a 100% success rate in healthcare? Unheard of. Well, I've never had a patient complain. You know, doc, I started eating more fruits and vegetables and taking supplements, and I feel great. No one's ever said, I feel worse. Now, initially, you might have a little bloating or gas. We talked about that 20 minutes ago because the body has to adapt to this new diet. But long term, it's the score. And you save a ton of money. You'll save money. You'll feel better. You'll probably live longer. You have a lot more energy. Your love life improves. Your home life improves. Your job improves. Your gas and bloating starts to go away. No reason not to do this, except one. There's one reason why people don't do the right things, and that's because the bad food tastes good. That's it. Only reason. You can get cheap good food. You can get cheap bad food. You can get convenient good food. You can get convenient bad food. So you just have to know how. And if you don't know what to eat, go to our website, drjoe.com, drjoe.com. Just type in the words, so what can I eat? Listen to a talk that I did on what you can eat. It's so simple. It's so easy. It's so effective. It's so inexpensive. There's no reason why you shouldn't be doing this. I don't understand it. I really don't. And when it comes to neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, numbness, tingling, chiropractic care, most effective, least expensive treatment. I can't make it any easier for you. I don't know what else to do except tell you what we need to do, and it's come see us. Again, if you want to make an appointment, drjoe.com, drjoe.com. We have offices in Marietta, Duluth, Stockbridge, and West Cobb. We'd love to be your doctors. We really would. We do a chiropractic evaluation, nutrition, adjustments. We have therapies that we can use. Normally, the first visit is $712. For my listeners, we've reduced that to $299. Exam, x-rays, consultation, first visit, going over the x-rays on your follow-up visit, and a complete nutrition evaluation. The x-rays alone are going to cost you more than that anywhere else. So there's no reason why you shouldn't be making an appointment right now, drjoe.com. Book it, and we'd love to see you. If you have questions, send them to me through the website, drjoe.com. It's a little bot that pops up. We're happy to answer your questions. Please do this. Follow us on social media. We post every single day. We let you know we have podcasts. We let you know we have live events. We let you know we have giveaways. We've given away concert tickets in the past. drjoe.com. Social media at Dr. Joe Esposito, all one word, at Dr. Joe Esposito. And that's Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. I think we're on LinkedIn. We're everywhere. So website again, drjoe.com. We'll be right back. What else you got for me today, Joe?
Nothing.
Wow. No questions today, huh? Well, we got a weird time. What people used to us on Mondays. But darn holiday got in the way. Oh, excuse me. I swallowed my own spit halfway through, and I couldn't cough it up. So we are ready for round 2 then, aren't we? Okay. Hey, folks, Dr. Joe Esposito here. Thanks for staying with us. If you're just joining us, welcome. Glad you could be here. We're talking today about a topic that everybody's got and nobody wants to talk about, and that's bloating. And it's interesting. It's not first date conversation. You don't say, hi, Michelle, nice to meet you. I'm Joe. A little gassy today. It's not something you talk about, but it's real. I remember when I was on the Dr. Oz show, I had the opportunity to sit down with Dr. Oz. He wanted to sit down with me, which was really flattering. And we sat for about 45 minutes before the show and just chatted. I remember the producer said, Dr. Oz wants to do an interview with you before the show. And I went, really? I said, yeah, Dr. Oz is going to interview me? He goes, no, you're going to interview him. And I literally looked over my shoulder, and Dr. Oz was standing right next to me. So we sat and chatted, and I didn't know what to interview Dr. Oz about. Got a little nervous. And so I said, Doc, I really want to thank you because one of the things your show has done is it brought digestive issues to the forefront. He talked a lot about digestive issues. And I appreciate that. And he says, well, I remember the first time I was on the Oprah show, I was really nervous. He said, the average person passes gas about 11 to 14 times a day. He says, and I'm sitting there for about 4 or 5 hours thinking, man, everybody in this room should have passed gas, including Oprah by now. And we had a good laugh out of that. But we all have digestion. We all digest our food. And one of the things that happens is we break down foods and gases are released. And if you're eating good foods, it's very minimal. It's very unoffensive. If you're eating bad foods, it's usually excessive and then pretty offensive too. So today we're talking about things that you can do to avoid bloating and unnecessary production of gas. So make sure you don't eat too much. Again, we said earlier that your stomach is about the size of your fist. And food compacts somewhat through your digestive system. So if you eat too much, it can actually stretch out your stomach. Now, your stomach is like a rubber band. It can stretch out to a point. But we said earlier it takes about 20 minutes to get the message from your stomach to your brain. And so if you're eating too much food, you can blow up your stomach, and by the time you get the message that you're full, it's already too late. And the perfect example of this is Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving, for some reason, we think, okay, pilgrims came here, they settled America, let's eat ourselves silly, and then let's get sick. And that's what usually people do. Now, upcoming, when fall comes, I'm going to do lectures on immunity. I'm going to do lectures on excessive food. And what you find, and I'll give you a little preview, what you find is that people will eat so much food, and the immune system goes crazy, because the immune system is always fighting food. Whenever you put something in your body, immune system's on guard saying, is this good? Is it not good? Is it a foreign protein? Is this something we should be worried about? And your body will attack the food. And if it's easy to digest food, no big deal. The immune system does its thing, it goes away. But if you start mixing carbohydrates, fats, proteins, and then new foods you don't eat all the time, pumpkin, which is a good food, it's not something you eat all the time. Turkey, don't eat it all the time. Stuffing, don't eat it all the time. Cranberry sauce. Think about that. On Thanksgiving, it's all mostly foods you don't usually eat. And so the immune system goes crazy. And that's why you'll see, I've been right every year, I've predicted this, the week after Thanksgiving, people start to get sick. Then they get a little better. No, Halloween first. They eat too much candy, they get sick. Then Thanksgiving, they eat too much food, they get sick. Then Christmas comes along. The week between Christmas and New Year's, a lot of people get sick. New Year's comes, you drink, sick again. So this whole sick cycle starts around October 31st, doesn't end till somewhere around the middle of January, sometimes February. And then, of course, we have cold weather. We're inside a lot. We're not getting fresh air. We're not getting exercise. And so one of the reasons we get sick in the winter is because we cause a lot of it because of our diet. So I digress. Eat less food. Give yourself a chance to feel full. So here's one of my tricks I give in my weight loss workshops that I do. ruin your appetite every meal. I want you to have an appetizer before the meal. I'll call it an appetizer. It doesn't really increase your appetite. It decreases your appetite, and you'll eat way less food. Problem I have in restaurants is you order your appetizer and your meal, so when the meal comes, it's already there. You're going to eat it. So I want you to ruin your appetite before every meal. And the way you do this is really simple. For breakfast, of course, you start the day with Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source. Everybody should do that. I don't know why, if you're not willing to do anything else, you're not at least taking Super Greens and Essential Source. They're 2 powders. They taste great. People ask me sometimes, can you put it in a pill form, Doc? You would have to take probably 10 or 15 pills because it's a scoop, a whole full scoop of product, and it's 2 scoops, one of Super Greens, one of Essential Source. We've talked about it. I think it would be cost prohibitive for the few people that want that. So what I do is I just shake it up with some coconut milk or almond milk. They're 2 powders. Drink it down, maybe mix it up with a frozen banana, whip it up into a smoothie, take it that way. When you're hungry, you're not hungry for food, you're hungry for nutrition. And you're giving your body some amazing, high-quality, high-concentration nutrition with Super Greens and Essential Source. And many times that curbs your appetite. I take it, I usually don't get hungry until about 10, 11 o'clock in the morning. Then what I do is I have something healthy to snack on. Maybe I'll bring a salad. Maybe I'll bring some tomatoes. Maybe I'll bring some carrots or celery. And then that holds me over till lunch. So now, most of my day, almost all my day has been raw food, fruits and vegetables. Great way to start your day. Because sex is the number 1 consumer of energy that we have as humans. Digestion is number 2. And if you're eating bacon and eggs and toast and waffles, you're going to be so bloated and so fat and so gassy and so full, you're not going to be able to enjoy your day as much. And as you get older, you start to realize that our time is limited. And I want to enjoy every single day. Right? It's a Steve Winwood song. While there is time, let's go out and feel everything. I love that line. Let's go out and feel everything. And you can't do that if you're bloated and fat from eating bad foods. So that's going to help tremendously. And then when lunch comes, eat a sensible lunch. You're going to save so much money. You're going to feel better. You'll lose weight. You'll have energy. There's no downside to this, except the one I said earlier, the bad food tastes good. So don't eat too much. Gluttony is a sin. Don't eat too much of it. You want to limit your salt. Now, your body needs salt to work, and most of us get way more than we need. Now, promotes the body to retain water, and you can feel bloated. That's why if you eat a lot of salt, sometimes your hands feel swollen, your feet feel swollen, well, your whole body can get swollen. It can also cause kidney problems and high blood pressure. You may get more salt in your diet than you realized if you're eating processed food. So here's a little trick I gave several weeks ago, and the audience seemed to love it. And the trick is this. Go to your grocery store and get potassium chloride. Sometimes it's called salt substitute. Potassium chloride as a salt substitute. Take that and mix it 50% potassium chloride, 50% sodium chloride or table salt. Chances are you won't even notice the difference. But we get way too much sodium in most cases, and we don't get nearly enough potassium. So this kind of switches that and gives you just the right amount of sodium potassium. It's going to help your bloating tremendously. Had one patient call into one of the shows I did. He said, Doc, I went and got potassium chloride. I mixed it with sodium chloride. I did what you said. He said 4 weeks later, I think it was 4 weeks, he went to his doctor. His blood pressure was normal. Now, he didn't do anything else except that. And the doctor said, wow, we can take you off your medication. You're doing great. What are you doing? And he told the doctor. Now, I'm amazed that the doctors just don't make this standard treatment. You have high blood pressure, you're doing potassium chloride and sodium chloride from now on. That's it. Done. Never talk about it. Now, I love medicine. I'm fascinated by medicine. However, medicine is never taught alternative health care. And we talked about this on our show last week. They don't learn nutrition. They don't learn about chiropractic. They don't learn about acupuncture. They don't learn about what we call soft tissue orthopedics, like adjusting the stomach. They don't learn about, many of them don't learn about, some do, PRP, acoustic wave therapy. So many therapies that we can use that they're not trained in. They're just trained in medicine. And that's their field, and they're really good at it. I don't have no clue about what they're doing over there. But this is why you have this show. So you can learn about alternatives. And I'm not saying don't do medicine. I'm saying let's do everything we can. Let's go out and feel everything, as Steve Winwood said. let's try to do everything we can to try to get well as quickly as possible. This is why I'm amazed that there are so many pain management clinics open, there's so many pain centers open, so many emergency room visits. When it comes to back pain, chiropractic is the most effective, least expensive treatment for back pain. In my mind, why isn't it that chiropractic offices are blowing up and the pain management clinics are left over for those patients that don't respond to chiropractic care? Very small percentage, by the way. Those are the people that should be going for pain management, injections, surgeries. Sometimes you need that stuff. We can't help everybody, but heck, I would certainly hedge my bets and start with chiropractic care if I had pain. And I do have pain. I'm a pain patient. I got hit by a car when I was a kid. So I'm a chronic pain patient. I understand chronic pain, and yet chiropractic has kept me alive. It's a reason you and I are talking today. Without chiropractic care, I promise you I wouldn't be here. So if you have a problem, health problem, neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, digestive issues, come see us. In the Atlanta area, we have offices in Marietta, Duluth, Stockbridge, and West Cobb. We would love to be your doctors. We accept people with all insurances. It depends what your coverage is. So don't blame us. It's your insurance company if there's an issue. But we will verify your insurance. We'll tell you your benefits. If you're a cash patient, we can take cash plans. We have payment plans available, 0 interest. If you're ever in a car accident, please, if the car's damaged, you're damaged. I've never seen it any other way. So if you're in an accident, you need to come see us immediately. We will diagnose you and evaluate if there's damage or not. You don't have to make that decision. Even if there's no pain, you want to get evaluated. You want to come as quickly as possible. The insurance companies play this little game where, oh, you didn't go to the doctor right away, so you weren't hurt. Well, my car was wrecked. I didn't have a car to get to the doctor. We don't care. You didn't go to the doctor. We're going to deny your claim. Fight us for it. So don't give them the fuel. It's a very simple thing. Is just come see us as soon as you can. drjoe.com is the website, DRJOE. You can book it right online or call us from the website. We would love the opportunity to work with you and help you get well and stay well. That's always our goal. So we talked about limiting salt. We talked about the stomach up against the diaphragm. If you have constipation, that can cause a lot of bloating too. I remember when I went to school, what was it? It was called Principles of Anatomy and Physiology was the book. No, it wasn't Tutorin and Agnostakis. I can't remember the book. Anyway, trying to think of the book and the author. I have good memory about that. Anyway, one of the things, the chapter on digestion, it said that some people don't have bowel movements for up to a year or more, and the only downside is weight gain. That book was an amazing book except for that one sentence, and it lost so much credibility with me. Your bowel should move at least once a day, preferably twice a day. So if you're not moving normally, chances are you're constipated. Now, what can cause constipation? Pinched nerve in the low back. The nerves in the low back control the colon, sex organs, and bladder. So if you have back pain, leg pain, numbness, tingling, sciatica, that same nerve, or those same nerves, control the colon, sex organs, and bladder. So you might have gas, bloating, diarrhea, constipation, urinary issues, sexual issues, erectile issues, incontinence. Think about this. If you have any of those things I just listed, what causes it? That's always the question I want you to ask. What's the cause? Many times it's a pinched nerve. And again, that's where chiropractic care comes in. There's a valve between your small and large intestine called the ileocecal valve. And it opens and closes. And if it's stuck open, you have diarrhea. If it's stuck closed, you have constipation. So there's actually a chiropractic adjustment that my team, I've trained them all to do, where you can adjust the ileocecal valve itself. Extremely effective. It's great on babies. Many times they're constipated. You adjust their ileocecal valve and like they dirty their diaper immediately. It's cool. So it may be the stomach up against the diaphragm. It could be the ileocecal valve. It could be a pinched nerve. And of course, it could be your diet. It could be how much water you're drinking. Could be over-the-counter medication. Could be prescription medication. So if you come in and you have constipation, we try to get to the cause of the problem, not just treat the symptoms. We have a supplement. I don't talk about it much, but it's amazing. It's on the website, drjoe.com, and it's Dr. Joe's Intestinal Formula. Now, this stuff is amazing. I formulated it so that you don't get urgency. You have to rush to the bathroom, and it doesn't bloat you either. And so it's a great combination of different herbs that kind of gets the bowels moving. Now, there is a condition where the bowels can become paralyzed, okay? The digestive system can paresis, it's called. And if you have paresis of the digestive system, many times we have the people take this and it gets everything moving again. So if you're constipated, yes, get to the cause, but in the meantime, you can take Dr. Joe's intestinal formula. It's on the website, drjoe.com. Now, I have a friend of mine who keeps a bottle on hand, and he eats pretty well. He exercises like a madman, but every now and then he cheats. He'll go out and have a steak or he'll have cheese or something like that. So he's not as disciplined as I am. And then he'll take some intestinal formula and kind of get everything pushed out. And I told him, I said, that's not what it's designed for. He goes, yeah, I know. But you want to get bad food out of your system as quickly as possible, and that's where a good diet comes in. If you gain 10 pounds or more, those people often say they feel bloated. Now, that could be because they're fat, and the fat is pushing up against the stomach. I used to be fat, so I can say the F word. So it could be because they're fat, but usually if you're gaining weight, it's because you're eating bad food. In fact, not usually, all the time, you're eating bad food. So people come to me all the time and say, Dr. Joe, I eat a really good diet. I eat right. I can't understand why I'm not losing weight. So then we have to sit down and look at their diet. And when I look at their diet, I see that they're eating better than most people, but they're still not eating great. And so I have to fine-tune them another step. And usually what happens is when you change your diet, it's in steps. All right, I gave up the artificial sweetener. Wow, my headaches went away. Dr. Joe, I gave up the meat. Oh, my God, I have so much more energy. I gave up the dairy products. My sinuses cleared up. I gave up the alcohol. My brain is working better. I gave up the sugar. I'm losing weight. Every one of the 7 deadly sins, alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, and artificial sweetener, multiple reasons why you shouldn't do them. And some of you right now are thinking, I ain't giving up coffee, Dr. Joe. I'll tell you that right now, I ain't giving up coffee. Okay. Go to our website, drjoe.com. Type the word coffee in the search bar. Listen to the show I did on coffee. If you're going to do coffee, at least do organic coffee. Because coffee is one of the most highly sprayed or pesticide-laden foods there is, and you're sucking it down like a fiend. So at least do organic coffee. Once you go organic, then try to go organic decaf and then kind of wean yourself off. But all of the 7 deadly sins, I did individual shows on them. So if you go to our website, drjoe.com, you could listen to any one of the shows that I did and realize why. My only interest is to give you this information so that you can get healthier. My big plan is I want a healthy world. And a lot of world problems would go away if we weren't so sick all the time. Could be mental sickness, could be physical, could be emotional. The world's a lot better when you're healthy. Your world, at least, is a lot better when you're healthy. And the way you get healthy is a normally functioning nervous system, a normally functioning digestive system, and good nutrition. The digestive system, we talked about the nerve supply. We talked about the stomach up against the diaphragm. We talked about the ileocecal valve. So that's one thing we need to take care of. We need to get the nervous system working. Again, I can't imagine why everyone doesn't get a chiropractic evaluation to see if they have pinched nerves. I don't know why. I mean, we can force people to take vaccines. We can force people to do certain things. We can force certain foods to be served in cafeterias. But for some reason, we don't force health on anybody. And health comes from a normally functioning nervous system, normally functioning digestive system, and good nutrition. It really isn't hard, folks. It's really easy. Now, on the website, drjoe.com, you could type in whatever topic you're looking for, and chances are we've done shows on it. If you have an issue that you can't find, send me a question through the website, drjoe.com, and we are more than happy to answer your questions for you. And it comes to either me or my assistant, Joe, and one of us will get back to you right away. We usually do it very quickly. So the website's a great source of information. We have over 3,000 hours of podcasts on the website. That's why you can search the website for topics. If you're a podcast junkie and you use a podcast service, just type in very simply, Dr. Joe for the health of it. Dr. Joe for the health of it. And you could listen to hundreds of hours of podcasts there if you want to. But you really need to also follow us on social media because we post every single day. We post health tips, sometimes recipes, sometimes questions people ask. I'll answer the question for them as a social media podcast, as a social media post. We run specials on supplements all the time. So there's no reason not to follow us. It's free at Dr. Joe Esposito, at Dr. Joe Esposito. And that's Facebook, Instagram, YouTube at least. And then I think we're on LinkedIn and Twitch, and we're all everywhere. So at Dr. Joe Esposito, please do that, because the more followers we have, the more searchable we are, and the better we can get the message out. So I give you all this information. I answer your questions. My gift to you, one thing I ask in return, go ahead and just follow us on social media at Dr. Joe Esposito. We'd appreciate that. So a lot of good information. Again, if you want to make an appointment, you can do it right online. We have offices in the Atlanta area, Marietta, Duluth, Stockbridge, and West Cobb. We want to be your doctors. We want to help get you well and keep you well without drugs and surgery. Now, sometimes you need drugs and surgery. We have a machine in our office called acoustic wave therapy, sometimes called shock wave therapy. Amazing what it does. It sends little impulses into a joint, into a muscle, and it breaks up scar tissue. It increases circulation. The body can actually grow new blood vessels in some cases. It stimulates the production of stem cells, which helps regenerate new tissue. Amazing for locked up joints, plantar fasciitis, knee issues. So we have so many different tools that we can offer you, and we want to make sure that you're using every one you possibly can. So if you want to make an appointment, drjoe, drjoe.com. We'd love to see you as a patient. Other things that can cause bloating. And again, if you're overweight, you're eating bad foods. It's just that simple. We have a 21-day weight loss program. It's on the website, and it kind of jump-starts your brain. It jump-starts your digestive system. Most people do very well with it. Some people find it, I can't live without my bad food for 21 days. But it's amazing. And it actually resets the brain, helps reset the brain, so that your brain responds differently to food. And again, we have all these tools on the website, drjoe.com. And any questions, send me the question through the website, drjoe.com. And again, cutting down your calories, because calorie-dense foods can cause you to gain weight, and that can cause the bloating. It can push the stomach up against the diaphragm. We did a great show on weight loss. Just type in weight loss on the website. You could listen to the show. And again, the cost for all of this information is free. I can't tell you how many social media experts have come to me and said, you could be making a fortune if you just had a subscription to your podcast. At this point, I don't want to. At this point, I want to be able to give this information to you so that you can use it. That may change in the future, but we'll see. The one thing we didn't talk about is actually medical conditions that can cause bloating. Irritable bowel syndrome, Crohn's, ulcerative colitis, celiac, infections. These can all cause digestive issues, bloating, gas, diarrhea, constipation, cramping. Most of them, everything I just listed, in fact, all of those, respond very well, in most cases, to cutting out wheat and dairy products. And I think everybody should cut out wheat and dairy products anyway, but by cutting out the wheat and the dairy, amazing what happens in so many of these cases like Crohn's, ulcerative colitis, especially celiac. So not just wheat, but dairy as well. So my challenge is this. Cut out wheat and dairy for 2 weeks. So all I'm asking for is 2 weeks. Nothing happening right now, no big holidays or anything. No wheat, no dairy, 2 weeks. At the end of 2 weeks, I want you to eat a lot of wheat and dairy. Have some pizza, have some cheese sandwiches, have some burgers on white bread with cheese on it. See how you feel. If I'm wrong, so what? I'm wrong. You ate well for 2 weeks, I lied to you. Not the first man to lie to you, right, women? But if I'm right, I'm smiling when I said that. If I'm right, which I am, you'll say, okay, now I get it. And you'll cheat. Everyone does. I don't, but you might. And you'll cheat, and you'll say, well, it's a special occasion. It's Thanksgiving. I'm going to eat all the bad food. Oh, it's my birthday. I'm going to have cake and a steak because that's what I have on my birthday. And you'll feel like crud. And you'll say, wow, Dr. Joe was right. And then you have to ask yourself a simple question. Was it worth it? If it's worth it, absolutely do it. But I don't think anything is worth taking away my health even for one day. And we have the answers for you in most cases. So the website, again, drjoe.com, amazing source of information. You can order supplements there. Again, the minimum supplements, of course, would be Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source. If digestion is an issue, Dr. Joe's Digestive Enzymes with any cooked meals, and then probiotics as well are a good idea. Any questions you have, send them to me through the website, drjoe.com. If you want to make an appointment, which all of you should, drjoe.com. We have offices in Marietta, Duluth, Stockbridge, and West Cobb. And if you're ever in a car accident, folks, please, if the car is damaged, you're damaged. You need to come see us right away. So great source of information. Any questions you have, drjoe.com. Thanks for tuning in. Catch you next week. Any questions?
We did have a couple of questions come in.
Okay. I will answer them for you now because you need content for your post this week.
Yes, thankfully not too many because somebody stole my pen and paper.
Oh, yeah, I saw you sneak over there and grab that. Yeah.
Not happy about that.
All right.
All right, somebody wants to know your thoughts on IV infusion therapy.
IV infusion therapy, great stuff. It depends what you need, and it depends who's doing it. But IV infusion therapy, you can do things like a Myers cocktail, which is for the immune system. You can use vitamin C to help the immune system. So there's a lot of things you can do. Glutathione is used in certain cases. So yeah, it's a great therapy if it's done right. What else?
All right, this other question is from a lady.
Hi, lady.
It says around the time of her cycle, her legs hurt. This just started. Could that be perimenopause?
The legs hurting probably wouldn't be perimenopause, but it could be as the uterus becomes engorged. It can put pressure on what's called the sacral plexus, which is a bunch of nerves in the low back, and those nerves also go down your legs. So many times it's a pinched nerve in the low back that's actually flared up because the cycle is starting. So I've seen a lot of cases like this where chiropractic care solves that problem. So you might want to come see us for that one. Again, it's telling you something's wrong, not just when you're having your cycle. That nerve is always being pinched. It just flares up when you're on your cycle. So you might want to come see us for that one.
That's it.
That's it. Okay. Thanks, folks. I appreciate it. Please follow us on all social media platforms at Dr. Joe Esposito. See you next week.